What's going on, people? This is Jeremiah. You're watching the Vision of Jeremiah channel, and today I have an After Effects and Cinema 4D integration tutorial for you. Inside this tutorial, we will cover how to shatter the ground within Cinema 4D, export it back into After Effects, and do some minor compositing. And just for FYI situation, this is a re-upload from somebody who already done this tutorial, but inside his tutorial, his volume was so bad that people couldn't understand what he was saying. And I watched it and I understood it and I wanted to re-upload it and try to make a better connection with y'all out there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do this render test here. Was it? I think inside his tutorial he used Nitro Blast. I did not. I used Strowsy for this. And that was it. The Strowsy, exported back out. I defined my materials and that was it. Alright, it's about 6 different main important steps that we're going to have to do here. And the first is obviously track our footage, export our footage, define our materials inside Cinema 4D, create our scene, export our scene, and do some minor compositing. That's about it. So let's go ahead and get started. Now here it is. I got my footage here. We click on this. I got my footage. Now what you want to do with Cinema 4D, you want to go ahead and think ahead. And what I mean by thinking ahead is that you want to go ahead and give it the best calculations and easy for you to create your scene geometry and all that good stuff within Cinema 4D. So what I mean by that is that my footage was originally sitting at 1920 by 1080p and it was originally doing 29.9 frames per second. Well, with Cinema 4D, you want to go ahead and change that to the nearest whole number. And you can easily do that by right-clicking on your footage, going to Insert Footage, and going to Main, and change it from whatever you got going on to like the nearest whole number. Hit OK. Alright. Now once that is done, you want to go ahead and track your scene. Alright. Go ahead and click on my scene here. You want to go ahead and track your scene. In this case, I use After Effects built-in camera tracker. You can use the Foundry camera tracker or even Bujo or anything like that. PFF track or whatever it's called. But if you're doing those type of routes, like if you want to export this into like another particular type of tracking software, I advise you just to go ahead and save your file as a Cinema 4D file and then just upload it into Cinema 4D that way. In this case, I did not do that. All I did is create a null in the camera. Alright. It's cool. Now the next step you're going to have to do, you want to go to your desktop or documents or whatever, and you want to create a folder. Let's call this Cinema 4D. I'm just calling my Cinema 4D Tut. Yeah. And then inside that folder, you want to create 3 different folders. Alright, because what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to create a folder for our export from After Effects for our Cinema 4D file, and then we're going to have to create a folder for our render for Cinema 4D, and then we're going to have to create a folder for our file sequence from After Effects to use as a background mat within Cinema 4D. So let's go ahead and rename the first one Cinema 4D file. Name the second one Cinema 4D Render. Okay. Name this one background mat. And that's pretty much about it. Alright. Click out of that. Now, once your scene and all that type of stuff is already tracked, you got your tracking data out there. You want to go to File, Export, Maxon Cinema 4D Exporter. You want to find the location of your file that you just created. In my case, it's on the desktop. Tut. You want to go to Cinema 4D. Forgot to name that file, but it's okay. File. Save it in there. Next, what you want to do, you want to go to Composition. Add to render queue. I'm going to delete this one. Alright, you want to go to your output 2 here. You want to navigate to your background mat. Name it something like background mat sequence. Okay, you want to go to your output module. You want to change it from a QuickTime to a JPEG sequence. Hit OK. And then you want to go ahead and render that out. I will not do that. Okay. Now once that is done for you, we can go ahead and hop over to Cinema 4D. So let's go ahead and jump to Cinema 4D. Alright, you see I have my scene already set up, but I am going to start over because I want to do like a step-by-step process of this with you as well. Okay. Go to File, New, and all you want to do is go to that folder that you created with your Cinema 4D file. In my case, is break test Cinema 4D file. Now I'm gonna do is just drag in my save file from After Effects here. Click out of that. Now, what this do? It create your scene setup just as if we had it inside After Effects here. We are currently inside our active camera that we created in After Effects here. You can see that just by toggling on this switch right here. Okay. And then we still have our little tracking data right now. In my case, it's just tracking node. Okay. Now let's go ahead and setting up our background. So what you want to do is go to your floor tag here, create a background. Do you want to double click in this area, create a material? Do you want to double click on your material? You want to turn off specular? Then let's go ahead and rename this to background. Okay, you want to go inside your color. You want to click on these three ellipses here. Do you want to navigate to where you rendered out your JPEG sequence images? In my case, it's inside that break text test folder here, sequence. You want to click on the very first one. You want to hit open. And if this pop up for you, hit no. Alright, and then you want to click on this image right here. Go to your animation tab. You want to hit calculate. Now, what this is going to do here is calculate how many frames or sequences or pictures, I guess you want to say it, that we exported out of After Effects. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So, if you didn't know, yours probably look different from right here. If you go ahead and hit, I'm on a Mac, mine's a Shift Command, and you click on this, it'll change just like the current time, and then it change it to frame rates here. Well, if we go way to the end, we got 149 frames. Okay, we go back to Cinema 4D, 149 frames. Okay, cool, but this is the most important part right here. You want to make sure that our little nearest whole number is the same as is wish that we changed it in After Effects. Alright, so let's go ahead and click out of that. You want to drag this onto our background, and that creates our background scene for us. Now let's go ahead and start setting up our geometry to do some dynamics. In this case, I'm using Thousand. You can use any type of method, you know, that you want to break up an object here. Let's see. Let me go to our primitive object tag here. Go to our plane. Drag this over, and this is going to act as a floor for me. So let's go ahead and go down. Okay. Set it up. Change it to about 1,000 by 1,000 centimeters. And before I do anything else, I like to go over to display, change it from GUR shading to GUR shading and lines. You see all these lines right here I got for me? I'm going to go ahead and add in a light. We're going to need a light anyway. Throw it in there. Go to my coordinates, bring it down just a little bit more. I'm going to move this off the distance. With a shadow, I'm going to change this from shadow map soft because at the end we will be using ambient occlusion. Go back to my plane, move this here, and I don't really need all these segments. That's what I was trying to get y'all to see. Don't really need all that. I can change that to 1. Just use this as a floor. I can even rename this to floor so we can know exactly what's gonna be doing what now. Okay, go to my cube, bring this over, line it up a little bit there, and I want to pay attention to where the cube is about to intersect and go through the floor. Okay, it's pretty cool. Now let's go to my object here, and I want to change this a little bit more thinner than what it's doing right now. Go to my size and Y, change that to about 20. Well, 30 looks pretty fine. Yeah, I'm change these to about 500 both in the X and Z. Okay, back to my coordinates here. And I do want to bring it just like, I do want to bring it to where it's just about to go through our floor. So, right about there is fine. Okay. It's looking cool. Next I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and drag in a sphere, because I'm going to use this to collide with our Throwsy plug in there. I'm dragging my sphere down. I'm going to piston to where this is about to go through our plane, because that is exactly where it's going to intersect that and create our collision for us. Okay, go to my object here, and I'm going to hit it /2. In this case, it's just going to divide it, make it 50. Alright, so we have our three basic objects there. Move this light down there to try to keep all these lined up. Okay, we have our three basic objects now. This is basically set up our dynamics right now. Go to our floor, right click, simulation tag, collider body. Move this thing on my face. And then you want to scroll all the way down. You see where it says friction? We're going to change this to about 200. Change the bounce down to about, what, 10? Yeah, that looks fine. Is that what I used for that? I think I did. Yeah, that's what I used for that. Go back to this. Alright. You want to go to your sphere now. Change, oh my bad, you want to go to your sphere, right click, simulation tag, rigid body. And then you want to change your bounce down from 50 to about, what, 5. You want to go to your mass here. Instead of using world density, we're going to use a custom mass. So you can click on that, custom mass. I'm going to change this to about 500. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and use our Throwsy to break our cube here in pieces. Go to Throwsy. So you can find. Okay, I'm going to go to my dynamic tag here. Then I'm going to change my mode from immediately to on collision, because I want that to be like on collision with the sphere. Throwsy. And then I'm change my pieces up to about, what, 35 for right now. And I'm going to use this second option. I think it's pronounced Veroni or something like that. And the difference between random and that is random will give you sharp pieces, like it won't be jagged or nothing like that. This option will give you jagged edges and all that good stuff there. So I'm going to use that right there. And then all I'm going to do is hit break now. It should start breaking up the pieces. This option do take a little bit longer than random, but I don't know. It's just, you know, depends on what type of look that you're going for. Alright. So all that is done. Cool. Alright. Click out of that. Then I'm going to click on that tag here that Throwsy created. Click on both of these. Go down. Then I'm going to change my bounce from what did I use? I think I used 5. I'm not mistaken about it. So that other one. Tutorial. Nope, bounce 15, 70, and 25. Okay, let's go ahead and just use those. 15, 70, then 25. Alright. Okay, now that's looking pretty cool. I think the other thing I did was change my individual elements from off to all. And then go back to my sphere here. And I think that was pretty much about it. I think I added in a gravity field as well to get our piece. No, I did not. I thought I did. Thought I did. That was my bad. So let's go ahead and press play. It's rendering funny because everything's going on at the moment. Alright, now if I go ahead and click on these three little tags right here, well not three, but those two little tags right there, to turn them both red for a sphere. I'm sorry about that, guys. I had to answer the door for somebody, but let's go ahead and continue. Let's see. Now, what I want to do, I want to still see where our sphere is going to collide with our Throwsy plugin here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to my sphere, and I'm going to double tick these icons right here. And what that's going to allow us to do is once they on red, is to not see our sphere or render it out, but as long as it's checked, it will still make its collision. Alright, so let's go ahead and press play. That's looking cool. Go back to my Throwsy here. Change this back up to 15. Press play. Okay. Now, if I didn't say this before, is what I also did here is that I went back to Throwsy and I used the same setups here from immediately to on collision. I used the second option, and all I did is just change my pieces down to something a whole lot smaller than what we used the first time, like 9. Then I went to my top view here. Let me move this over just a little bit. Alright. We can see our Throwsy cube. And all I did is start selecting pieces here by holding shift. Like, you know, like, well, I started selecting pieces where I knew where our sphere is going to collide at there. So like right here, like in the middle of all this, you know, like all in this area is where you want to select the pieces at and break them up even farther than that. I will not do this inside this tutorial because of the simple fact things will start to get a whole lot laggy for me. So, but I encourage you to do that. Go ahead and press play one more time. Okay. That's cool. That's fun. Now let's go ahead and start defining our materials and how we're going to do our camera mapping. Now I'm going to go ahead and create one more texture, and I'm going to use this texture for the inside of our pieces for Throwsy here. And you can use any type of texture that, you know, if you want to make a texture, if you found one off of the internet, Google, anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and double click, create a whole new texture here, turn off specular. I'll call this rock texture, I guess what I said. Okay. I'm going to go over here to my diffusion, click on that, click on my 3 ellipses here, and I think I got this texture on my desktop. I will have this inside in the description. Well, yeah, I will have this inside the description there. Hit open, hit no, and then what I want to do, I want to click on this icon here, this arrow icon. I want to hit copy channel, go to bump, check it on, go right here, hit paste, and just turn up the strength from 20 to 100%. I'm gonna go back to my diffusion, click on this image here, and I want this to be a little bit more darker because once we do our ambient conclusion, it's going to be brighter. So where say white points at, I'm gonna just change this to about from 1 to what, 5. Yeah, that'll work out. Okay. Now we have everything to set up our camera mapper materials. So let's go ahead and do our Throwsy. And what you want to do, you want to drop down this here to show all your pieces that's going to be affected by our material. And if I'm right about this, all our pieces here on our left is our inside pieces, and all our pieces here is going to be our outside pieces. So what we need to do, we need to set a mat up for the outside pieces to still replicate the ground inside our scene. And then we still need to go ahead and give our inside pieces its own separate material. So let's go ahead and click here. I'm going to go way down. I'm going to hold shift, select them all. I'm going to drag in my rock texture. Okay. Then the only thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to change my projection from UVW mapping to camera mapping. And then I'm going to go down, I'm going to toggle open this here so I can see our 3D camera tracker from After Effects here. I'm going to drag in that inside our camera options here. Then I'm going to change it from film aspect from standard to HD TV. Alright, now that takes care of the left side. For the right side, we got to do, well, we got to do 2 more different steps. So let's go ahead and click that, go way down, hold shift, select all those. In this case, we want to use the matte to replicate the ground inside our scene. So let's go ahead and drag in our background. Alright, change it from UVW mapping to camera mapping. Drag in our 3D camera tracker. Change it from standard to HD TV. Now, before you click anything else, make sure you got all these still highlighted here. You want to go ahead and right click now, choose generate UVW coordinates. And you see stuff down here change and all that type of stuff for you. All you need to do is go back to your projection and change it right back to camera mapping, and it should update again for you. Okay, you can click out of that. Now, we gotta go ahead and give our floor material as well. In this case, I'm gonna just drag on our background for our floor. And just change it from UVW mapping to camera mapping. Then drag in our 3D camera. Okay, change it from standard, HD TV. Now, we need to go ahead and do some compositing tags for our objects within our scene here. So let's go ahead and right click, Cinema 4D tags, compositing, and then the only thing I'm gonna do now is check this composite in the background. Then I'm gonna click on it, hold Command, and I'm gonna drag it to our floor. Alright. Now we still do have our light inside our scene, so let's go ahead and turn on our ambient conclusion. Click on this icon, effects, ambient conclusion. I'm gonna change up this to about 10. Okay. It's looking cool. Let's go ahead and try to do a quick render. Alright. Now, we can still see this little boxed up image right here. And that's because, simple fact, our floor, in this case our plane, is a whole lot bigger than our Throwsy situation. Now you don't need to go through and try to match it up and scale it back down or nothing like that. All you need to do is go ahead and double tick it to also make it red. Now let's try to do a render now, and it should update. See that there? It's looking cool. And this is why I'm saying I encourage you to go ahead and make some smaller pieces and mess around with those settings to get the type of explosion effect that you're looking for. Because right now, with me didn't even do anything like that, it looks kind of weird to me just right now. But let's go ahead and I can also go back into my Throwsy here and use this. I can go down to it, the size increment. You can change this to like 1 centimeter. And then once the sphere hits the cube, kind of give me a little bit more variety of explosion. Probably too much, actually. Yeah, that looks like a little bit too much. Let's see, I'm going to change my layout from startup to standard. Go ahead and try to get this a little bit more better looking explosion here. I'm going to go to my simulate, particles, gravity. I'm going to bring down my gravity. Coordinates here to about right there. Go back to my objects here, change it to force. Now I can go to my Throwsy, click on that, and probably turn up that size increments just a little bit more, and then adjust the gravity as needed. Alright, so to do a render now. Let's see what that's looking like for me. Yeah, And that'll work out for me. That's cool. Okay, now what you need to do is click on this right here, and we need to go ahead and set up our render passes and stuff like that. In fact, let's go ahead and click out of that right fast and try to get you to understand something. Now, instead of trying to render out this whole timeline and everything, you need to go through and time it up to see which frame that your sphere hits your objects to make your collision happen and when does it end. In this case, I can't really see it because I got everything going on and it's kind of lagging up, but I'm pretty sure it happens around probably frame 20. Yeah, let's just say frame 20. All that is still happening. Let's just say frame 20 through 70. Okay. Now, if that's the case, I'm gonna go ahead and click on this. Go to my output, and I want to change my frame range from 0 to 20, and then change my 2 to 70, or whenever your scene ends, I guess you want to call it. You want to go to save, and then you want to navigate to your folder where you got your Cinema 4D Render. Okay. You want to go ahead and change it from a TIFF inside your format options here to a PNG. Do you want to go to this alpha channel? Check on that, and click out of that. And the other thing you want to do here, you want to go to your background. You want to go ahead and make that off as well, so when you just render it out, you can just see your pieces. No, not necessarily. That'd be pretty cool. Well, matter of fact, nah, like, go ahead and leave that on, actually, right there, because I think I tried to render this thing out without the background, and it kind of popped up weird and stuff. So once all that is set up for you, you got your ambient inclusion set up, you got your destination set up for your render. Go ahead and hit this button here in the middle. It'll go ahead and start rendering out for you frame by frame from your, set frame to your end frame. Okay. Let me go ahead and minimize Cinema 4D. And open up that folder from where my renders is at. Okay. I can go to that render. Now once it's rendered out, it should just render out your scene here with your objects breaking in pieces, frame by frame. Now, what you don't want to do, you don't want to double click and do like an import file and nothing like that. No. What you do want to do is just open up your Finder or your window, what you want to call it. Go to that folder. You want to go ahead and just actually delete that so I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, go back to it. You just want to go ahead and drag in your folder for where all your render files and everything is set up at. Just drag it in. Let it go. Do you want to double click on it and make sure that it got transparency? And what I mean by that is that the background is black. See? Pretty cool. You can go ahead and scrub through that. Now, we do have these pieces coming through at the bottom. Yours probably have pieces coming through at the sides or something like that, depending on what type of look that you was going for. No problem, whatever. Well, I know for a fact that this thing starts at frame 40 for me with mine. And this is why this option right here is cool, because what you can do, you can just click on it and just go to the frame that you're looking for. In my case, it's going to be frame 40. And then it indicates your timeline, like right there. Drag in that. And hit the begin bracket. Let's break it up. So let's go ahead and address these pieces and all that flying out. It's just simple masking. This one you go there, click all around that. I still want my cracks and stuff to be shown. Okay, I'm gonna subtract the mask now. If I zoom back up, there you have it. Go back to this right fast. Still see a little piece. So there you have it. It's just as simple as that. A couple different steps you probably have to do, but that is generally how you do Cinema 4D breaking up effect from After Effects to Cinema 4D back to After Effects compositing. I hope this tutorial helped you out a lot. If it did, please hit like, please subscribe. I'm gonna try to do tutorial frequently. I'm trying to go ahead and adjust to my new college schedule. But thank you. My name is Jeremiah.